Thanks, everyone. So I want to start by reminding you all that we are actually alive right now. So can everyone stand up really quickly? All right, so what we're going to do is we're all going to clap at the same time. Not yet, but I want everyone to put your hands out like that. Ready? And on go, I want us all to clap. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Good. Great job. Now let's sit back down and let's have a wonderful day. All right, so I'm a social entrepreneur. Now, being that we're talking about craziness here, for the sake of my own kind of dignity and reputation, I wanted to start off by defining what crazy actually means so I can make sure that, you don't think I'm kind of not fully there, okay? So Oxford Dictionary offers 3 different definitions for crazy. The first one is this: mad, like not fully there in the brain, okay? Like the lights are on, but no one's home. Like most people fall down the stairs, but some people fall up the stairs. That's crazy, okay? We're not talking about that definition today. The second one is that craziness does not conform to society's idea of what is normal, okay? And the third one is about enthusiasm. And when you're crazy, you're often extremely enthusiastic about something. Now, I want to start off by showing you the whole thing about how it's not normal. So I flew in from Sydney this morning, and when you're at the airport at 7 a.m., having had very little sleep, what do? Well, you walk up to random strangers, and you ask them, what do you think about social business, right? Isn't that what everyone does when you catch a flight? Maybe not. Kat was speaking about reactions to social business earlier. I got a lot of, hi, I'm Andrew, can I ask you a question? And they were like, no, right? But equally, some people took the time to have a conversation with me. I had a chat with this wonderful guy who's a farmer, and he was saying, no, I don't know what social business is, and I don't think it can help me. And I was like, wow, we've got a long way to go. This isn't normal at the moment, but there's a huge potential here. Other people tended to think, social business, does that mean you run an Instagram business? Social media? I got that one 3 or 4 times. I'm not even kidding. And other people I thought that I was trying to sell them like a product. Like, here I am pushing social business and changing the world, and like, oh yeah, what are you trying to sell me? No, I'm not trying to sell you anything. One of the most profound discussions I had was with this guy who's in kind of the environmental space and in agri-science. And we had a great discussion, and I'll come to that in a minute. But I wanted to start off by showing that this is a crazy idea. Just because it's important, and like, thank you for showing that, right? Social business is incredibly important, but that does not mean at all that it isn't crazy. Now, the second point I want to come to is the enthusiasm point. And again, if you've heard me speak before, I do love involving the audience. So in a moment, right, I'm going to get you to reach under your chairs. Under every one of your chairs, there's something taped to the bottom. And when I say go, I want you to reach under your chair, and I want you to pull it up and hold it in front of you. All right, everyone ready? 3, 2, 1, go. All right, well, that's it, everyone. Thank you. You've just proven that I'm not the only crazy one and that you were all crazy as well. And I appreciate that. But I want to make a point here, because this is where social business really takes the enthusiasm. Because you're actually starting from nothing. There's nothing there. And you have to take that nothing and turn it into something in a way that has a profound impact upon humanity and the world. That takes enthusiasm. It's not easy and it's crazy. Now, by the way, one of the wonderful things about starting with nothing is when you fail, and I've failed a lot, and you started with nothing, when you fail, you still have most of nothing left at the end, which I think is absolutely wonderful. But on a more serious note, I lead Future You, which is a social enterprise committed to empowering the next generation to create a future that enlivens and fulfills them. At the start of Muhammad Yunus's book, he talks about how young people are creating the future. And I love to empower young people to create a future both for themselves and to create the future of the world. We've done a whole bunch of crazy stuff. I've spoken to a whole range of people in education and school principals in the past few weeks. calling them up randomly, sharing my vision for humanity in the education system. It's absolutely absurd that they're just not used to it. And I remember the first time we got our first partner on board, and we're now working with Google and a whole bunch of other extraordinary organizations. That was the first time that we went from nothing to something, and it was incredibly, incredibly, incredibly profound. Now, I think personally, because I'm young, I'm only 20, I'm not 12, that was 8 years ago, but I am getting old, I'm planning my retirement soon, maybe. But I think as a young person, I like being young because I know less, and knowing less gives me the freedom to innovate and kind of not know, oh, there should be a boundary here, I shouldn't step past this. And I think that's the thing about crazy ideas, and that's the thing about social enterprises. One of my favorite quotes of all time, Steve Jobs said, the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. And I think, social enterprises are definitely needed. And there's a profound, profound need to impact the world. That does not mean that it's not crazy. And in fact, much of its potential, again, comes from its craziness. If it wasn't crazy, Muhammad Yunus would have written a book about something else. Now, in closing, I want to say two things, right? The first one is you're all going to die. In case some of you didn't realize that, I apologize if you thought you were going to live forever. The only thing that you have to do in life is die. Everything else is your choice. Now, I have found personally, that living my life to make an impact to others and living my life to create the future of the world and, creating social enterprises and following that pathway is an absolutely extraordinary thing to do while you are alive. And I want to finish by saying this. The final guy I chatted to, he works in kind of, the whole environmental space. I said to him, how would you like the world to look in 3,000 years because of your life? How would you like to impact the world? He was telling me, actually, and he has not heard of this book, but he basically mentioned exactly the 3 zeros. And I love the fact that I was able to have a conversation with someone like that. And I think what it's going to take to move forward, aside from actually doing things, because posting on Facebook and having this discussion doesn't necessarily progress things, is actually coming together. It's like when we all stood up and we all clapped and we were all one. Personally, I feel like the progression of humanity will come from people putting aside their differences and coming together. And what I'd encourage all of you to do today is to put aside your differences, to come together, open your hearts, and have a look at how we can create the future. Thank you.